Hey, it's Alan, and join me in my truck here. I'm parked at my RV site in McCall at the McCall RV Resort. Great place. I'm going to take you on a little tour of the town of McCall. I've been here all winter, working as a ski instructor up at Brundage Mountain and just enjoying being out here in this winter wonderland. Looks a little bit like the North Pole. So I'm going to turn around the dash cam so we can point it in the direction that the designers intended it to point. And join me as we take a little tour of McCall, and maybe I'll make a couple of restaurant recommendations and a few other odds and ends so you can see what the place is basically all about. We'll start out by pointing it towards my RV, and then we'll start heading around the RV park. It's been a typical late January day, some sun, some clouds. It's in the high 20s right now, and it's going down to probably about 5 or 10 degrees tonight. Okay, so let me turn this thing around and we're going to get started. So here we go. The RV park's not too busy, but it's a great place. I've got some additional videos showing you the inside of what they call the North Fork building. That's got the pool, hot tub, and steam room. They keep the place pretty well maintained. The roads are well plowed, always easy to get in and out of here. At the moment, I'm in two-wheel drive, but really on the flip of a switch, I can flip over to four-wheel if and when I need it. There's a little bit of a hill to get out of here, and you'll see that in a moment. The North Fork, by the way, is also a lodge that's used very often by the community for special events, dinners and fundraisers and things like that. As you can see, the road's a little bit bumpy. We did get 8 feet of snow in 2 weeks right around Christmas time, and it just created, pretty much a solid base that we're driving over right now, and there are some spots that get a little bumpier than others. Up here there are cabins that you may have caught as I turned by. That's part of the RV resort, kind of like the way KOAs have cabins. This place has cabins, nice cabins from what I understand. Right in front of you is the Broken Horn Brewing Company. They brew their own beer here. And before we head into town, we're going to make a right-hand turn and head over towards the Brundage Activity Barn so you can see some of the really cool stuff going on around there. So if you get the idea this region is pretty rural, it is. McCall is about 2.5 hours north of Boise. Boise is not the biggest city on the planet to begin with. I think the metro area's got maybe 250,000 people. And we're again a solid 100 miles plus north of Boise, up through some pretty ambitious hills, back and forth, up and down as you get up into McCall. McCall itself has a population of only about 2,900. This is the activity barn. This is McCall's and Brundage's activity barn. Snow tubing on the left-hand side, skiing on the right-hand side. You can see a snowboarder going off in a terrain park. This is just on the south side of McCall, approximately a half an hour from the actual mountain, the ski area. You see the kids are having a great time. Let me also take a moment and point out, I'll gear the webcam in that direction. You should be able to see Brundage Mountain. This is the lake view side of Brundage Mountain. I can't quote the statistics, probably about an 800-foot drop from the top of the mountain to the chairlift, maybe 1,000 feet. And this is the back side of the mountain. The front side is the better part of a 2,000-foot drop. I've been exploring the backside or the Lakeview area of Brundage. It overlooks the lake, which is Payette Lake. That is in downtown McCall, and I'll take you right by that. And it is really a spectacular area. There's a lot of tree skiing. Frankly, I think even more than I experienced at Steamboat. So if you're a tree hound, if you love getting into glades, if you love getting off-piste and into ungroomed terrain on good snow, the snow here is more often good than not. So Brundage is really quite a place to come and play, and very affordable compared to rates in some of the major resorts. When I left Steamboat, I believe their daily ticket rate undiscounted was about $140. That's 140, and at Brundage it is $62 this year. So it's a very different league in terms of cost. Ski school is correspondingly much more affordable. So we're now at the traffic light just on the south side of town that would access the main shopping area. There's a Ridley's here, there's a post office here, a Rite Aid, there's a Pro Build right in front. You may or may not be able to see that. The Pro Build also has a Radio Shack built into it. So it's kind of like a little shopping area. Again, a town of less than 3,000. As we head down, this is Route 55. We're heading north to get into the center of town. A few places that I want to point out that are pretty nice to visit. You can see on the signage on the right-hand side is the Pancake House. Pancake House, as you can imagine, does an absolutely spectacular breakfast. There's a Holiday Inn on the left. That's a good place to stay in town when you're visiting. Some little retail areas as we come along that I have not personally visited yet and explored, little shops. This is a snowmobile business that's on the right that we're just passing. Coming up here on Sunset, and I'm going to turn the camera a little bit, there's a building off to the left that we're going to go past on the side street. It's called Evening Rise. It's one of the two really outstanding sandwich shops in town, and I mean really outstanding. And I'm very particular about sandwich shops. Notice I'm not saying anything about the Subway we just passed. The Mill, from the reviews I've read, is not worth the money, so I'm not going to recommend that amongst the places that I would talk with you about. There are other places coming up that are definitely worth looking at. And again, the town is very compact. There's no doubt that as you go down here, I'm driving slowly, I'm under 25 miles an hour. There really is a very short distance that you're going to cover pretty much everything that is in town. Now we are coming up on a side street that I'll point out. By the way, we just passed the Brundage building, and that's where there's a shuttle that runs from the Brundage building to the mountain every morning and comes back every afternoon. The side street here, and I'll turn the camera a little bit, may pick it up as we go by. We're coming up on a side street that has a ski shop on it that is definitely worth visiting when you're in town. Off to the right-hand side here is my father's place. Also, there was a sandwich shop on the left called Stacks. The camera probably caught that as we went by. The ski shop is Hometown Sports. My bad, I turned it a little early. Then coming back straight, you've got on the right-hand side the Fog Lifter Cafe. That's a great place for breakfast. It's a great place for midday and early morning coffee. This is the McCall Hotel on the right-hand side, and that's the lake right in front of you. So it really comes right up onto the lake. There's a Mexican place here, frankly not that great. There's a Chinese place. I've eaten there only once. I'll reserve comment beyond that. I will take you on a better view of the lake in a couple of minutes. On the left-hand side here is an ice rink, and there's actually a junior league ice hockey team that plays there. The Anchor restaurant's been highly recommended on the right-hand side. We're coming up on Paul's Market, which is the other market in town. I'm going to take you up a little bit further, at this point west. We've made a 90-degree turn going from heading due north. Now we're heading pretty much due west. And this is the way to Brundage. If I were to drive directly to the ski area from where I am right now, it's probably about 7.5 miles, 8 miles door to door from this point on Mission Street and 55 up to Brundage. And again, there is a shuttle from town that will take you there. The town itself is very picturesque. It's very nice. Probably one of the nicest lodging places in town is coming up. It's the Shore Lodge. It'll be on your right-hand side as we approach it. And there are two other eating places that I think are pretty good that are worth noting. Some of the snow in these trees has been here for weeks at this point. At one point, the trees were laden down with so much snow that a lot of them were falling over, and Idaho Power and Light was frankly going crazy trying to keep the power on in town. And at the mountain for something like a week, most of the time the power was off. So it kind of reminds you of where we are. As we drive along, the lake is to the right. The snowbanks don't make that quite obvious. As we approach the Shore Lodge, it opens up a little bit, and again, the Shore Lodge will be on the right-hand side, and that is definitely a place you want to consider staying, and possibly a place to eat too. I've heard good things about the food at the Shore Lodge. I've not personally eaten there yet. Lardo Grill is on the left as we drive by. I'll say nothing, which in itself might say something. As we head out of town, we've passed the center of town, and there's only a couple more places left I want to point out. If I were to drive up to it, there is a spot called the Little Ski Hill. It's a ski hill that's right on the edge of town. It's only about 2.5 miles up. And the Little Ski Hill is mostly for local kids to get their training, to kind of cut their teeth on the mountain. On the right-hand side here, as we approach, is the Blue Moose. I highly recommend the Blue Moose, not just for its pizza. I haven't had the pizza, but I've had lasagna and I've had eggplant parmesan, and they were both very impressive. And then the last place I want to show on this end of town is the Brundage Inn. The Brundage Inn, I'm sure, is very affordable, and there is a Mexican place on the west end of the Brundage Inn, which is where I'm going to pull in and turn around. It's called Pueblo Lindo, and I highly recommend Pueblo Lindo. At this point, we are headed east. I've turned around at Pueblo Lindo. You'll notice a sign for Ponderosa State Park. It is right on the edge of town, on the east side, on the northeast side of town. Great camping there in the summer, RV camping. It's right on the lake, and there are a lot of great sights. In the winter, there's cross-country skiing there. There's also cross-country skiing at Jug Mountain Ranch, which is just south of town, and Bear Basin, which is just west of town on the way towards Brundage Ski Hill. As we head back into town, I'm going to take us past the Fog Lifter Cafe. We'll make a turn there, and then you'll see some construction, by the way, on the in the snow. We're headed in towards Winter Carnival Week, which is the last few days of January and the first few days of February. And the Winter Carnival, I understand, is a great time, and there's all these snow castles that get built up. So you may have seen a few as we drive by them. You'll see more as we keep driving around the area. There's little bungalows here on the right-hand side that look like they're actively being rented during the winter now. And of course, I'm sure they'd be fully booked up during the summer. Winter is actually the quieter season here, but there is absolutely a call to be in McCall during the winter. McCall is about 5,000 feet elevation, which puts it higher than most places around it. Just south of here is Cascade Lake. It's almost at 5,000 feet. It's also a beautiful area to be in the summer. There's not much going on in the town of Cascade during the winter. In between, there's a town called Donnelly, which has a pizza shop, which oddly enough has good hamburgers. So as we come back into town, again, this time we're coming from the west, we're headed due east. You can see the mountains off to the east, and it's late afternoon, so the sun's shining off them. You've got the ice rink off to the right. There's also TJ's Cafe, which is attached to the ice rink. It's a pretty good cafe to go into for Starbucks coffee. They recently got the franchise for Starbucks. You have the Hotel McCall right in front. There's a gun shop on the right-hand side here. Steamer Steak and Seafood, I've heard good things about, haven't been there yet. There's another good coffee and ice cream place here on the corner. We're turning right around it. On the right-hand side, there's a candy store on the right-hand side, which is kind of a neat place. And we're going to go to the left, right by the Fog Lifter Cafe here, and turn left. And I'll take you past the lake itself, where you'll get a really spectacular view of the lake. You can see a sign where we're just passing by Ponderosa Lake Toll Station, or coming up on Ponderosa Park. Toll Station on the right is a decent place with a good salad bar. On the left is the Salmon River. That's another really good place to eat. I know they do lunch. I'm not sure about dinner, but I have a feeling they do also do dinner. On the left here, there's a farmer's market that is open during the winter. There's a dentist I've been to up ahead called Brian Charles. I'd highly recommend him as a dentist. He's doing some crown work for me. Gravity Sports is another one of the ski shops in town. They've got a little selection of clothing and skis and such. There's a coffee shop in on the right here called Mountain Java. Been there a few times. It's a good place. May go there after I take a loop here with you. Now right in front of us is Payette Lake. There's a marina off to the right. And I'm going to turn the camera, so as I turn, you'll get a better view of the lake. This area is also used by kids to go sliding down the hill. And looks like the lake is frozen enough. I've seen people walking on it. So that does happen, that can happen. On the left-hand side is Rupert's. That's part of the Hotel McCall. And I'm going to recenter this. And as we come out here, you're facing the Moxie Java, which is the ice cream place I was mentioning before. Also has good coffee.